This movie is about Dave, a 30-year-old unemployed man, who spends his days engrossed in constructing a labyrinth made entirely of cardboard. Despite claiming to be a talented artist, he's never created anything practical. The movie opens with a recorded interview where Dave, with a hint of regret, explains that the maze is his attempt to prove himself. He somberly acknowledges responsibility for the deaths caused by his creation. The narrative then flashes back 3 days to when Dave's girlfriend, Annie, returns from a trip. Spotting a colossal cardboard structure in the living room, she calls out to Dave, who responds from inside the maze. Unfazed, he welcomes her home, proudly declaring that he built the labyrinth single-handedly. Puzzled, Annie heads to the shower, expecting Dave to join her shortly. Upon her return, Annie is surprised to find Dave still ensconced within the cardboard maze. Perplexed, she reminds him that it's just cardboard and suggests he can easily emerge by knocking it down. Dave, however, explains that he's been working on it all weekend and has lost his way within the intricate construction. Dave, adamant about the vastness of the cardboard structure within, refuses to dismantle it, emphasizing the time and effort he invested in its creation. Growing impatient, Annie decides to enter, but Dave stops her, citing the potential danger. Frustrated, Annie attempts to shake the cardboard boxes, causing chaos inside. Dave, alarmed, pleads with her to stop, shouting about the impending consequences. As Annie persists, Dave panics, exclaiming, "You're gonna make me come," and reluctantly concedes. However, he maintains that she should not enter due to the risk of getting lost. Annie, now concerned, questions how long Dave has been inside the cardboard structure, to which he reveals it's been 3 days. Worried about his well-being, Annie suggests dismantling the maze, but Dave remains steadfast, determined to find another solution. With no other recourse, Annie contacts Dave's friend Gordon for assistance. After a while, Gordon arrives, and Annie, from inside the box, fills him in on the situation. Dave, still inside the labyrinth, emphasizes that nobody should enter yet, as the maze isn't complete. Amidst the intricate cardboard structure, Dave passionately explains the beauty of his creation, detailing how he built it outward from the center, resembling the growth pattern of a seashell. Annie and Gordon, deliberating the situation, reflect on Dave's tendency to start projects but leave them unfinished. The pressing question arises, where is Dave relieving himself within the confines of the labyrinth? Overhearing their concerns, Dave discloses that he hasn't eaten in 3 days, raising immediate worry. Gordon attempts to lift the cardboard, but sudden violent shakes, akin to machinery inside the maze, disrupt their efforts. Left with no choice, Gordon opts to seek help from their mutual friend Leonard. However, the situation takes an unexpected turn as Leonard calls in more help, including Harry the journalist, and his crew, siblings Greg and Bryn, Jane the overenthusiastic visitor, 2 Belgian tourists, and a homeless man. Dave, within the labyrinth, sternly warns everyone against breaking or entering, citing the dangers of potential obstacles and booby traps. This frustrates Leonard, who decides to return home, met with Dave's dismissive remark, "Keep your boobies to yourself." In the ensuing scene, Annie's concern grows, prompting Dave to express his regret for subjecting her to this ordeal. Amidst apologies, he confesses his longing for her, and Annie, softened by the sentiment, admits she misses him too. Frustrated with the situation, Annie decides to venture inside the maze to retrieve Dave. Harry, seizing the opportunity for his documentary, eagerly documents every moment. Upon learning of Annie's daring venture, the group, excluding the homeless man, opts to join her. As they enter, the reality strikes them. Dave wasn't exaggerating. The labyrinth is far larger than its external appearance. Gordon, inadvertently cutting his finger, witnesses an unusual phenomenon as the cardboard floor absorbs his blood with an unexpected intensity. Emboldened by Annie's courage, Jane and the rest of the group embark on their explorations within the maze. As the group, including Harry and his crew, trails Annie and Gordon through the intricate maze, they quickly realize the labyrinth's complexity surpasses their initial expectations. Attempting to decipher their path, Harry stumbles upon a button on the wall, adorned with a warning label. Ignoring the caution, he nonchalantly presses it, triggering an unexpected event. Gordon gets hit by a ball. Navigating further, the group encounters a hallway leading to a peculiar musical room. Painted keyboards on the wall beckon them, and a surprising revelation unfolds. They can enter the wall through the black keys. The passage guides them to a pit filled with discarded paper, overseen by vigilant origami birds perched on a balcony. The tranquility is shattered when one of the birds attacks, throwing the group into panic mode. The room's door seals shut, prompting Annie to search for an alternative exit. Amid the chaos, Annie discovers a giant face sculpture on the wall, leading to a narrow escape through its mouth. The experience leaves Annie shaken, grappling with the surreal notion that the origami birds are alive. Harry attempts to capture her reaction on camera, but the moment is interrupted by Jane, who excitedly rushes into the room. She shares her enthusiasm about the maze exploration, adding a layer of unpredictability amid their exploration. Jane accidentally triggers a booby trap, resulting in her head being gruesomely separated from her body. However, to everyone's shock, instead of blood, yarn, and confetti spill out. The grotesque spectacle sends the group into a panic, prompting a frantic escape from the room. The narrative then shifts to Greg and Bryn, immersed in a game of hide-and-seek within the maze. Tragically, Greg triggers yet another booby trap, becoming trapped between the wall and a spiked grill, leading to instant death. Bryn, discovering his lifeless body, is horrified, and the situation worsens as she is splashed with a strange pink substance. Meanwhile, Annie expresses her frustration, questioning why Dave incorporated these deadly traps into the maze. Gordon attempts to clarify, emphasizing that the traps are integral to transforming the maze from a mere series of hallways into a challenging and dynamic environment. The group, now joined by the frightened Bryn, learns of Greg's fate. As they approach the site of his demise, they are met with astonishment. Greg's body is missing, and a trail of blood and giant footsteps leads out of the room. As the group surveys the aftermath of the booby trap, Gordon deduces that the ominous footsteps belong to a mythical creature, a man-eating minotaur, half bull, half human, amusingly named Guy Fieri. The revelation adds an unexpected layer of horror and urgency to their predicament. Annie, determined to break free from the maze, uses a knife to cut through the cardboard wall. However, as she attempts to tear open the wall, an unsettling wind blows, accompanied by loud, ominous noises seemingly resisting her actions. Despite the challenges, Annie perseveres and successfully opens the wall, only to discover another room on the other side. Sensing impending danger, Annie and the others swiftly enter the new room, urging Bryn to join them. In a surprising turn of events, Bryn hesitates and remains behind. Suddenly, a colossal monster, presumably the Minotaur, swiftly seizes her, resulting in her demise. Fearing for their lives, the group frantically flees the scene, desperately seeking refuge. Along their chaotic escape, they unexpectedly encounter Dave, who guides them through a small door leading to a peculiar room within the maze. The room is a bizarre setting, featuring a table and chair crafted entirely from cardboard and paper. The unexpected encounter with Dave in the mysterious room adds an air of surrealism to their escape. As the group reaches a momentary sanctuary, tensions flare, and blame is cast upon Dave for their precarious situation. Dave, attempting to justify himself, mentions his warnings against entering the maze. Despite the heated argument, he promises to guide them out and beckons them to follow him through a secret door. To their surprise, Dave leads them through a pipe, transforming them into cardboard characters. Confused and frustrated, Annie and the others demand explanations. Dave, reassuring them that everything will be resolved upon returning to the apartment, finds their escape interrupted by the sudden appearance of the giant. Fleeing from the giant, Dave leads the group through a tunnel, and miraculously, they revert to their normal forms upon emerging. The Minotaur, however, follows them outside, prompting Dave to construct a makeshift barrier to deter the beast. As the situation continues to escalate, arguments erupt among the group, each member expressing the urgency to escape the maze. In a moment of clarity, Dave reveals a surprising solution. They must complete building the unfinished maze to find their way out. However, Annie vehemently opposes Dave's involvement in continuing the maze's construction and insists he leads them directly to the exit. Reluctantly agreeing, Dave guides them through the maze, and they stumble upon a mysterious wall. Elsewhere, Leonard, having returned home, is lured back into the maze. His disturbing encounter with the Minotaur's axe and the lifeless remains of Jane sends shivers down his spine, only to unveil an unsettling surprise. An enormous origami insect clings to his back. In the enigmatic world of cardboard chaos, the plot thickens as Dave, the maze's perplexed creator, finds himself puzzled by structures he claims not to recall building. Dave guides Annie and the group into the entertainment room, unveiling a peculiar display of old British entertainment. Their journey takes a surreal turn as they enter another room with a hypnotic opening on the wall, drawing them in. Despite Dave's warnings, the allure proves too powerful, and Annie and the others are compelled toward the mysterious gateway. In a moment of recklessness, Dave exposes his hand to the tempting opening, turning it into the cardboard. Undeterred by the strange occurrences, the group presses on, only to discover that the maze has started to grow autonomously. Overwhelmed by the unfolding madness, Dave implores everyone to help him defeat the giant, allowing him to complete the maze and finally find his way home. Regrettably, the group rejects the idea of aiding Dave and, amid the chaos, Harry suggests capturing Dave's plight for their documentary. Though reluctant, Dave agrees and pours his heart out in a candid interview, revealing the depths of his struggles within the ever-expanding labyrinth. Confronting the heart of the maze in a revealing interview, Dave exposes his deep-seated self-hatred as an unemployed 30-year-old dependent on his parents. The maze, he confesses, was a desperate attempt to prove himself and break free from the shackles of his seemingly unimpressive life. Expressing remorse for the lives lost within the labyrinth, including his emotional turmoil, Dave's vulnerability strikes a chord with Annie. Moved by his emotional outburst, Annie pledges to help him escape the maze. The group, spurred by a newfound determination, refocuses on devising an escape plan. Gordon theorizes that, as the maze appears alive and growing, it must have a heart. Dave agrees, acknowledging that every creation has a weakness, but, regretfully, he didn't build one for the maze to prevent its destruction. Gordon wryly remarks on the irony of not failing if nothing is completed. However, Annie, embracing the essence of failure as part of life, encourages Dave to create a chrysalis to destroy and exit the maze. With renewed purpose, the group, led by Dave, resumes exploring the maze. They stumble upon Bryn, now a paper doll tied to the wall, seeking high fives. Wary of the potential trap, they refuse her request. Dave and Danny press on while Gordon and the rest remain to distract Bryn. In the next scene, Dave and Danny traverse a dark tunnel, engaging in a conversation. Simultaneously, Annie enacts various successful roles, juxtaposed against Dave's continuous portrayal as a bum. Despite the ever-changing scenarios, their happiness together remains constant. As the couple reaches the maze's center, they embark on constructing its heart. Annie, armed with a sword, hacks through the cardboard wall, prompting a sense of anticipation from Gordon and the others. In response, they secure Bryn to prevent any potential attack against Annie. As the group gathers at the center of the maze, Bryn undergoes a surreal transformation into a giant hand, retracting into the ground. The cameraman valiantly sacrifices himself to save his equipment, leaving the group to join Annie and Dave. However, Gordon becomes separated during a chase by the giant Minotaur. With Annie and Dave setting up the heart, Harry and his team capture the pivotal moment as the heart comes alive. Simultaneously, the Minotaur relentlessly pursues Gordon, who witnesses Leonard's demise from cardboard blades. At the maze's center, Dave strikes the heart with a sword, initiating its destruction. The labyrinth begins to crumble, and the group emerges unscathed from the debris. Despite the success, Dave mourns the loss of his intricate creation. Harry attempts to uplift his spirits, reminding him of the forthcoming documentary, albeit in a characteristically abrasive manner. The group diligently cleans the remnants of the maze and disposes of the scraps outside. As they depart, the Minotaur and an origami bird emerge from the discarded materials, harboring a vengeful intent against humanity. The future remains uncertain as the group faces the consequences of unraveling fate.